Bunk.
Hello, Wade.
Hello, Derrick. And
Welcome
hello,
back.
all of you. Welcome to the Father of the Man podcast. As you may have heard,
No, go ahead.
I will. As you may have heard, I'm Wade, and this is
Derrick.
And we'll be your host today, as usual, the Father of the Man podcast. Today, we had a somewhat rambling discussion.
About virtue.
Yeah, it was. I think it came together pretty good, and hopefully, might encourage you, might make you think. The usual. Do you have anything else you want to say to introduce this, or what do they need to know? So, in order to fully understand this episode, you need to read notes on what is it? Notes from the Underground.
Notes from the Underground by Fyodor Dostoevsky.
Yeah, you need to read Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. You need to read all of the Stoics, all of them.
You can find them here.
Yep. And you need to watch Marry Poppins and The Matrix.
Watch both of those twice.
Yeah, at least, and then you'll be a part of the conversation.
Ideally, yeah.
That's all you need to do. Just do that real quick, and then you can just start the episode.
You had me at start.
The man of independent mind. He looks and laughs at all.
Well, here we are, having another whirlwind discussion.
Welcome back to the podcast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Welcome, everybody. It's not just us here. We have a huge, vast, intelligent, handsome audience.
Indeed.
So
beautiful if the ladies are listening.
Yeah. Okay. So, basically, today we're going to be talking about virtue. Mm-hmm. What does it mean? How does it apply to us? Is it good? Of course it is. It's virtue, right? That's kind of the definition. We'll get into the definition.
We'll have to figure that out.
Is it okay? We're going to be talking about virtue, manly virtue amongst other virtues. Mm-hmm. Is manly virtue different than normal virtue? We have thoughts. So here we go. Define virtue, Derrick. Go.
Wow, that was a whirlwind.
Sorry. I said a lot of things.
Well, virtue. What is virtue, and why is it such a hot topic right now?
All right.
I think it is.
Okay.
Right. Well, and I link it to Stoicism, which is really popular right now, and for some reason, guys are clinging to Stoicism.
Okay.
So I guess what is Stoicism?
Whoa.
And in a very broad, not super deep nutshell, like
a shell.
like an almond.
Okay.
Not too deep.
Do almonds have shells?
Yes.
Like a cashew.
Like a walnut.
All right. That's pretty deep as far as nuts go. Anyway,
yeah.
keep going.
Like a peanut.
Sorry.
It's not even a nut. It's a
Is
legume.
Oh my goodness.
Stop. Okay. So Stoicism, I've noticed it's popping up a lot in social media lately. And,
Okay.
And there's been a trend toward it with all the, pursuit of manliness. Even in manosphere circles, they talk about it a lot. And it's these basically they're pitching that virtue and the pursuit of moral good is our high calling. And that is what gives life purpose and meaning, is the pursuit of those things itself.
Okay.
And it there's no God at the center of Stoicism. The God that they, follow is more the idea of the spirit of God in society. It's the more secularized humanistic version of it's the good in us that is God that leads and guides us, right?
Got it. Okay.
Where obviously we have a different idea.
Right. Like an actual God.
Like a real God, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're saying, no, it's not so much about following a real God for those purposes. It's just about, hey, being the highest moral good that you can of yourself and denying yourself, sin and worldly pleasure in pursuit of being good morally.
Okay.
And that is what benefits society to the highest potential.
Okay.
And so I think the term virtue pops up in that discussion a lot because it's anything that is good is considered virtuous. And initially, the Latin, if you go way back, virtue used to mean manliness. Like that's one of the
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up because
Yeah.
when you initially mentioned this as a topic, me and you, we could go to we like to define terms before we talk about them, and that's where I went to was to and it's originally the Latin is like vir, right? Or
Yeah.
is it ver? It's not ver, it's vir. I don't know, whatever. But that's the
speak
root word.
Latin.
But it literally just means man is the root word.
Yeah.
So like it is interesting that virtue seems to be definitionally linked to masculinity and manliness.
Yes.
So that's
the
interesting.
essence of
Yeah.
masculinity is virtue.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Is what I think is what that
Is
would
what they're trying to
imply.
get at. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I've just been thinking a lot about, okay, well, what does that mean, first of all? And how do we define what's a virtue and what's not?
Yeah.
You know, and go into the whole like vice versus virtue conversation,
Oof.
which is a whole other can of worms. But like, what does that look like in our lives? And is it truly the highest ideal for man? And is it in and of itself good just to pursue good morals? And where do we get the guidance for that? And how do we define what is good morally anyway?
Yeah, no, that's really good. That's a very important question. I have thoughts. So basically, it's interesting because if we look back at our initial attempt to define masculinity in the first place, the idea that it's God's intended identity and purpose for the male of our species, right? So
Yeah.
looking to God as our creator and as our designer and as the one who came up with the concept of us in the first place. With that as a basis, I think we're in a really good position to go from there because we actually have like an origin as opposed to just goodness existing in its own way, somehow evolving in us or something, right? Like this nebulous, like good is good because good is good. And you're kind of like, okay, you're defining the term with the term. Why is it good?
Yeah, like what's the
right?
benchmark?
Yeah. What's the deal? Who gets to determine that? And if it's good for me and bad for you, how does that pan out? And like what are we talking about? So I think coming back to our origin story as being created by God for his purposes is a really good place to start. I think if you look at it in that way, then you're going, all right, so if virtue, the root of that being the definition of man it's himself, like his intended identity as God created him, then you're in a place to go, okay, we can look to scripture, we can look to the natural revelation of God in nature and in our world and start to piece together, okay, these things are what God would have men to be about and to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's really helpful. I think obviously this departure from God as the source of that and scripture as the source of that, and just looking to, I don't know, like, I guess it's really just not very deep to go look at just, I guess, how men have acted and what we all just kind of agree upon as good as a society. I don't really even know where the Stoics are pulling from or if they know where they're pulling from. I think they are pulling from God's law written in their heart to some extent. But then I don't think they know that when I read it.
Yeah, what is the end of it, right? Like
Right.
you have a target and everyone talks about hitting the bullseye on the target, but we're not talking about what the bullseye itself is and who made it and where it came from.
Right.
So it's just kind of like this thing that we're aiming at. But all that we're talking about is the aiming itself.
Right.
But like how, like you said, like where did we get the idea that this is what is good, right? And you have, like we were talking earlier about like transnational morality, right?
Yeah.
Where you can go to different countries and it's still agreed upon that certain things are naturally morally good and certain
Yeah.
things are morally evil. But where did that come from?
Yeah.
And
God.
Correct. We're done.
Nailed it. No.
But it's interesting,
yeah.
you mentioned, and I don't want to derail too much, but with like the whole topic of like man and vir and it being wrapped up into our identity as men, I would throw out there that it's probably, I haven't done all the word association and deep Latin, whatever, but I'm imagining that it's mankind, right? Like
universal man, not male. Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't exclusive to men. It's it's mankind should be pursuing these things, but why and to what end, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I would posit to the glory of God and for his purposes for your life would be kind of where I'd start with that as far as to answer the question like really fast.
Broadly, yeah.
Yeah, but it's interesting because where my mind went with the question of like what is virtue and how do we apply it and all that. I wasn't thinking of the whole manosphere stoicism piece, which is a really good point. And apparently I'm not like as up on the zeitgeist as you are. I didn't know that was a hot topic.
I'm very worldly.
You are. You're just
cosmopolitan.
You're not. You're just knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Okay. So that said, where my mind went with it was it's interesting to see what virtues societies like lift up and honor in different time periods and in different cultures at throughout history, and it's kind of ties into what we were talking about with the whole gentleman barbarian thing, and like because that Theodore Roosevelt quote, he talks about the retaining the barbarian virtues, right? It's like these things that are good that he's associating with apparently barbarism. I get, again, we don't want to, I don't want to like go back into that whole topic necessarily,
That's
but
archived. You can look
look up that episode. But that said, there's kind of these like harder manly virtues that are associated with manliness and with men, like God's intended identity for men, such as like courage, valor, willingness to take on risk, willingness to sacrifice things for a higher purpose, willingness to embrace discomfort, pain, fear, etc. And not that women can't possess those values too, but I think they manifest them in slightly different ways. And I think men and women have different callings, like we have different purposes, that God created us for. So with that, it's funny because I think we're going to keep coming back to this a lot, but it's the whole like help me out. It's the weak times create soft times, men, hard times, men,
I think that's quote. Word for word.
Was that it? I was pretty close, dude, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Hard times create weak men create hard times create strong men, etc.
Yeah.
Right? Is that the idea?
Yeah, it's like a self-perpetuating cycle.
Yeah. And so I think in our culture today, I think we are in a very opulent culture. We're in a very relatively comfortable culture. I mean, I think relatively the most comfortable a culture
Relative
may have ever been. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it is potentially a breeding ground for weak men, right? Like it's that idea of those might be the virtues that we're lacking in. Yeah. So, and then on top of that, so I'm going to kind of interject another thought here. Go ahead. You have something?
Well, just on that thought, right? Where it's the ebb and flow, the rise and fall of the Roman Empire over and over again.
Yeah. Roman Empire.
Yeah. But no, like we were talking about Brave New World last time, and how that's, it's a clear picture of like utopia, how come it doesn't work and why, and what's, and we were talking earlier about the Notes from Underground by Dostoevsky, and how his whole thought process is like, so everyone fights for this goodness and this moral societal good. And then what happens when you finally attain that? Like, what is the end game? Like, what is the point of it? And even in that, men will rebel against it, right? Like, and why is that? Like, is virtue and the culmination of goodness itself, like, is that all there is to life?
Sure.
And people pretty clearly throughout history have demonstrated that that's not all there is to life, and there's something more, and they're trying to find what it is.
Yeah. That's really good. I think it's a really good thing to think about and to think through, because we take for granted, I think, a lot of times, especially because if we are on a path that's somewhat in line with God's reality and with his purposes and in line with truth, and we're pursuing good things, that's good, right? Mm-hmm. But a lot of times I think we can kind of get wrapped up in, we can miss the target of essentially eternity and glorifying God and serving him and living a life of service to others and in pointing people to Christ and in, essentially fulfilling our like purpose on this planet, because it can be hard if you're focused on the good things, it can themselves as an end, it can be hard to prioritize what is better than what and what we should be spending our time doing and how to order our life. Because are we ordering our life in alignment with just the first good thing we find, or are we trying to pursue the greatest good, i.e. God, relationship with God, service to God, the higher callings and our actual purpose. So it's interesting because when you mentioned Dostoevsky, a more modern example, that brings up this concept is of the concept of mankind pursuing good so much, and then it's like we're chasing a dog chasing a ball, and you don't know what to do with it once he gets it. Yeah. Right. Like you just know you want we know we want some sort of, we know we want peace and comfort and all these things, but as soon as we get those things, we quickly introduce chaos to mess it up so that we can almost pursue it again. Yeah. And we almost kind of self-sabotage because we don't even know what to do with peace once we've found it. It's that another example that I was going to bring up was The Matrix, which is a movie. It's a movie film that some people have seen.
Yes.
And basically, where there's a scene where Agent Smith is talking to Morpheus, right? And, sorry, I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd, okay? And he basically brings up that the original idea for what they were going to do, the machines were going to do to make the humans kind of docile, was they were going to plug them into the system that was perfect, right? So they thought they'd make them all happy. It'd be like this
Right.
utopian society. They'd be in cages and being used as batteries, but in their minds, they'd be in this wonderful, free, like peaceful, perfect utopian thing.
Pumped full of soma.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Soma, right? And so, but essentially in the story, he's saying that the humans rejected it, right? Like,
Yeah.
like our makeup couldn't really handle it. Like we almost like thrive on chaos. We thrive on the challenge. We thrive on the pain almost to some extent,
Yeah.
is what it's implying. And so they had to change the system to basically be like the late 1990s or whatever, which was, he was calling the height of our civilization, which is kind of a funny thought. I don't know if it is or not. That's
I don't know, looking
that's
back,
a
I kind of miss it.
I know, right? Like
simpler times.
maybe he was right.
Yeah, pre-internet basically.
But they introduced a system that was like modeled after the actual world, so that humans could have that whole dynamic of struggle and pain and accomplishment and trial and all of that. And so it's just interesting because I think it is speaking to something that's true, and that is that like we I think what we're craving, to kind of spoil the ending here, I think what we're craving is heaven, right? Like what we're craving is God. It's fellowship with Christ. It's
Yeah.
it's that completeness. I think what we're missing is Him, and in our striving for good things that are good in the world that He's created, we can miss the point. And if we do, then we're basically doomed to this cycle of comfort,
Yeah.
peace, and then chaos, war, comfort, peace, right? And that kind of breeds the cycle.
Totally. And you can, I mean, looking at history is one of the solidest, most solid,
Yeah, super solid.
densest
Yeah.
affirmations to my faith is like, okay, yeah, that's proven over and over and
Yeah.
over again. It's like when we get to the end result of like, okay, this is what is good for everybody, right? And then that's all there is. It goes off the rails quickly because they're looking at the results and not about the actual maker of these things. Like,
Yeah.
like you're just looking at the benefit from them, but it's like, okay, so to what end? Like, okay, so now you got there and you have all these good things. You got your soma and you're just happy and chilling. Like,
Yeah.
what? And that's why, tons of authors and artists and comedians and everyone else, they're tortured souls because they don't have the Christ element.
Yeah.
But they have, like he says in Notes from Underground, he says consciousness is a disease.
Yeah.
Like once you understand, like we are fallen and there's something more, but I don't know what it is. And all the goodness in the world and all the comfort is not going to do anything for me.
Right.
That's where people get tortured. Right.
Yeah.
And that's why if you can keep people on that soma and keep them all just happily subdued with pleasure and ease,
Yeah.
you can fool a lot of them. But as soon as they start thinking, then it's like, okay, then,
It only lasts so long, right?
yeah, there's no depth to that. It's just,
It's almost like they can't get no satisfaction. Right?
you should write a song about that.
Someone should. Dude, just for our listeners who may not have read Brave New World, which you should, just pause the episode and just read it.
Shouldn't take long.
Just read it. Okay. But yeah. Content warning. Anyway, that said, it's kind of gnarly. The book is only for adults. The point is, Brave New World is a very interesting book. The soma thing that we're talking about, just in case people know what we're talking about with soma,
right.
is basically this made up drug that everybody's on in the future in this dystopian portrayal of the future, where basically it represents the numbing of the mind with pleasure, right? So it's
Yeah.
kind of just like, they describe it in the book as like alcohol, but without any of the negative side effects. So you kind of,
Right.
it's like alcohol without the hangover. You're just always kind of in this blissful state and you're drugged and not thinking, but you're in this kind of euphoric state.
It's like
yeah.
it enforces the feeling of having achieved everything. Like you have
Right.
nothing else to do. There's nothing but pleasure in the world.
Right. So it's kind of like, video games or whatever. But yeah, so it can be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a super important thing to realize as men, that we are created. We're not just random.
Yeah.
We are there, and we are created with a purpose and for relationship with God. And the thing you're missing is that. So I
Totally.
guess that's kind of the gospel message in all this is like, yeah, you are missing something.
Yeah.
And true satisfaction comes from a relationship with Christ. And ultimately we as believers, we believe there is life after death. And that's what we're yearning for, is that is real utopia, right? Because
Yeah.
it's utopia, but with the what's euphoric about it is not self-pleasure. It's relationship with God, right?
It's getting to the source of the goodness that we feel we need to promote in our lives.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Like there is, because all mankind have fallen and short of the glory of God and sin and all that stuff. Like that's true.
Yeah.
We are also
Yeah, it
created
is.
in God's image, right? So we're created as his image bearers, and we're moving forward in life representing him,
Yeah.
right? And so he has written things on our hearts that are good, and the Bible tells us that. And that is good to pursue those things, right?
Yeah.
In the context of eternity, not in the context of an end in themselves.
Sure.
And that's what's so cool about the gospel is it gives so much hope, and it pretty much blows all these other philosophies out of the water.
Yeah.
Like Stoicism, right? That's okay. So act virtuous and act good and pursue virtue as the highest calling of your life. And that in and of itself will give you purpose and meaning.
Right.
Which we know isn't true. What's cool about like in, I think it's 1 Peter, where he says, add to your faith virtue.
Yeah.
And knowledge and self-control
Yeah.
and all these other things. So virtue is good.
Yeah.
But it's just a supplement to the life of faith in Christ.
Yeah.
Like that's just part of what we're doing. That's
part
not
of the journey.
focus,
Yeah.
right? Just like the journey shouldn't be completely focusing on self-control. And that's all I want to do is just be self-controlled and
Right.
nothing else matters and everything else goes out the window, right?
Right.
And I'm not going to find myself, like these Tibetan monks that'll eat a grain of rice a day for 18 years. It's like their whole purpose was self-control.
Yeah.
And they mastered it. And it's like, okay, what do you have at the end of that?
Yeah.
You're just skinny.
Yeah. You've probably really seen it. A grain of rice for 18 years. Is that?
They say that.
I
I
okay.
have some theories about
I'm
that.
curious what their starting weight was.
And how big are these grains of rice?
Yeah, right.
Because
Yeah, for real.
possible.
I don't know. But yeah, no, that's a super like ultra important point. I think so here's another thought kind of connected. Another place my mind went with this virtue thing and it being like attached to the definition of masculinity and manliness itself. So it might feel like kind of a little like out of left field, but I think it connects. We'll see how it goes. Here's a thought. So I've been kind of like interested in this idea of a general cultural negative reaction to the term man up. Okay, so that's it's come under scrutiny. I don't know how recently or whatever, but here's my window into the zeitgeist. Okay, like this is what the word on the street is that I've been hearing.
Yeah,
but
back in 2008.
yeah, whatever, dude.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know when, but it basically just this idea that I think, and I don't want to pin this on one generation, but I think generationally there's a generation of men that really use that kind of like that man up mentality to mean something that wasn't actually in alignment with what a man is. And so I think it burned a lot of guys on that concept. And now I think we're penduluming to the other direction of like, oh, that's toxic, or that's, like there's this big push toward, let's see if I can frame this. There's a big push toward men leaning into their feelings and their emotions and not suppressing things, which I think has some truth to it and has some positivity to it.
Yeah, but not when you frame it as getting in touch with your feminine side.
Oh, good grief. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, exactly.
But yeah, there's a big push.
But there's a big push that way of like men, growing in sensitivity and like, it's okay to cry and it's okay to, which it is. Again, I'm not saying it's not, but
I do it all the time.
But yeah, I've seen it. But that said, there's this push against this idea of like man up being an inherently negative term. And I just wanted to kind of play with that idea for a bit because I was thinking it through and I'm going, the only way you'd have a problem because with the term man up is if you have a problem with the definition of man, right? Because I guess because it's a call. The way I see it, it's like if you break it down, it's only 2 words, but it's a call upward, right? It's like you're saying, hey, come up to this standard, come up to acting like a man, right? So the only problem would be if you have a problem with what acting like a man is, right? Or
if you're the one saying it, have defined the standard as something outside of what true masculinity is.
Exactly.
And it's a twofold problem because you have guys with the context of like getting beat as a child,
sure,
and then they're crying, and then the dad's like
man up,
you little,
right?
Yeah, that's evil.
Yeah,
Horrible,
yeah, absolutely.
right? And that's to set the standard of manliness as don't cry when your dad beats you is like okay, that's a horribly skewed view of masculinity. But the other problem is we're in a time where just masculinity itself, men are demonized as such, like just for existing.
Yeah,
right. It's kind of like the whole race issue. If you're white, you're automatically evil. And it's kind of like that's not true. And it needs to
Thank you.
I affirm that as a white man.
It feels good to hear that. Yeah.
But yeah, so you have the two problems, right? Because legitimately, there are people who are told man up that are like turned off by it, not because of this stupid woke movement, but because of like, like I grew up just having that vibe, like that it was like just teaching to be a friggin' like brute. Like,
Right.
So I think it comes down to how you're delivering it too, in what context.
100%. Because I think the sayer of the term has everything to do with whether it's a good term or not. Right? Because I mean,
they're in the power of the tongue. Like, same with any word, right?
Yeah.
Words aren't in of themselves evil. It's
Right.
how we use them.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, exactly. So I think the solution to that issue, I guess, is to correctly define man, right? So to actually put that back under subjection to Scripture and to like God's definition of virtue, which would be, I guess, like moral excellence according to God himself.
Yeah.
Right. So if that's the case, then, and we're calling our sons up to manliness by that definition, that's a good thing to call them up to.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting because even just zooming in on like because that's like a kind of a macro look at it, but like zooming into the whole, because a lot of times, I mean, the negativity around that comes down to, you gave a great example of it, but it's basically like a misunderstanding of man's intended relationship with emotion. And so it's kind of, because it's like, it's don't cry, man up. I guess like needlessly suppress feelings for no purpose other than feelings are bad. But it's kind of like, and we talked about before how like part of the definition of man is like ways we can know what men aren't is like, okay, men aren't women, men aren't boys, men aren't animals. Right. And so these are kind of touchstones of like, that's ways we can go astray, right? But it's interesting because that also doesn't mean that men are the opposite of those things, right? Like,
totally.
It's like a man is not the opposite of a woman. A man is not the opposite of a boy, and it's not even the opposite of an animal. Like there's common things with all those. So I think that whole knee jerk of like man up, stop crying, don't feel things is kind of this thing of like, women cry and they feel things and we're not women, so don't do that. And it's kind of like it's an obviously stupid argument because you're basically like, all right, well, women and boys also eat food frequently. Like, should we not? Like, what do you exactly? Man up. Like, you're eating a sandwich. Women eat sandwiches, dude. Have you seen that? Like, yeah. So I guess to me, just to put a point on the when it's correctly used, because I think it's also important to say that there's a time when you shouldn't be crying too. Like when it's time to protect your family, when it's time to like, suck it up and like perform essentially. Like if emotion's getting in the way of your responsibility or your duty as a man or your calling as a man, then you should probably do your job.
There is something to be said about, hey, specifically using that term, hey, don't telegraph or promote weakness in yourself. Like,
okay, yeah, that's good.
I think that's a big part of it, right?
Sure.
Like if you are convinced that everything's falling, like, in law enforcement, if there's a hectic situation, I'm dealing with a violent domestic, whatever.
Yeah.
If I'm just sitting there freaked out and I'm like, and I start feeling emotion because there's, a bloody whatever, like, I'm going to not be able to perform.
Bloody whatever.
Sorry not to get all graphic.
I love that. A bloody whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Person.
I get it. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, if I cave to my weakness or the emotion of seeing a child that's like barely hanging on or whatever, then I won't be of any use in that scenario.
Right.
So to man up in that scenario is a very good thing. But but context is king for this, right?
Yes, exactly.
And I would posit that it is the same way in parenting.
Yeah.
And I don't tell other people how to parent, but when I'm parenting my boys, if I say man up, it's usually with an explanation of why.
Yeah.
It's not just man up, dude. It's man up, and this is why. This is how a man would act, and this is how we're called to act, rather than just a catch-all, hey, man up, you're making me look bad, right?
Right. Well, again, that's it. Yeah, exactly. It comes down to why is the person saying it, and is man up even accurate in the way they're saying it? Because a lot of times it's actually more like animal up, or frequently it's like boy up. Really, is what they're saying because it's a call to this really weird, imbalanced, immature view of emotion where it's like. And it's like a really important question with a lot of things is why? Because it's like, why should you stop crying? And it's kind of like, if the answer is because you're going to look like a sissy, it's like, okay, so that's based in what? Pride, I guess. I mean, I mean,
and that can be even good though, right? Like, hey, you're looking like a sissy, and here's how that's going to affect you negatively in the future and like long term. If you continue to act like a sissy, you will get bowled over and you will never win at anything.
Right.
But even that's an explanation, right?
Right. It's an explanation, and you can think it through even further of like why do you not want to look like a sissy, right? Like because one, you're called to be a leader, and you're called to encourage others to step up and be courageous and to take on life.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to inspire anyone with that,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
And so again, a lot of it really boils down to how it affects others, right? How it affects your purpose on this planet of service to others, sacrifice to others, caring for others, leading others, like taking care of your jurisdiction as a man, whatever that may be. And so I feel like a good litmus test is like, if it's man up in the context of, and the answer to why is like for your own personal image, pride, like whatever, then that's weak. And it's honestly more like boy up in that context, right?
Yeah. And it's honest. And when it's in that context, it almost comes more across in my mind as, you're making me look bad. You're embarrassing me.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
So it's more about my self-image than yours, because it makes me look like an incompetent leader.
Right.
By having a child who can't control his emotions. So
right.
Instead of working through that with them,
sure,
it's easier just to, hey, man up, dude. You're embarrassing me in front of the whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and again, the root is pride. Like whether it's their pride or yours, it's just like a stupid reason to do something. And then it kind of shuts down the whole, and it demonizes a whole part of life, which is like, crying, like processing stuff, like weeping, mourning, dealing, working through stuff. And I think that, you get all emotionally constipated, and that's why therapists have jobs.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I guess that's, so all that to say, to affirm the need to like, I mean, I think of like the example of Christ before he went to the cross in the Garden of Gethsemane, and like he's like crying and like so stressed he's sweating blood, right?
Yep.
But again, you don't see him doing that. And again, it's not like you have to go, if you're going to cry, do it alone. That's not what I'm saying. But he's also not doing that in front of his disciples, as far as I remember, right? Like it's like he went off alone to be alone with God, and he was working through a ton of stuff, and then he went and just did what he needed to do, and so you don't see him when the whole time he's being tried and processed and put through the ringer and crucified and everything. Like you don't see him weeping and breaking down and being just a wreck in that time. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't go into detail on that, but I'm just saying you get the perception you get. Not at all. Like it's like an insane display of courage and bravery. And but again, it's for an incredible purpose of saving mankind.
Yeah.
And he knows his calling and he's going to do it. But like he still processed his emotions. You know what I mean? Like he still was a man and he was still going through what he's going through. So I just think of that as an example of like, just because there's times not to cry doesn't mean there's also times to cry. And then there's good reasons to cry, and then there's stupid reasons to cry. Right? Yeah. So, but again, it all boils down to how do we parse all that out? How do we even know? Like, how do you discern that? It's like, I would just, again, point to scripture, point to God and go, look, he's the creator of us, and he's the one who gets to define moral excellence and our target. And so submitting to that is how we're going to be able to have wisdom to discern all this stuff and figure out what we should be doing.
Yeah.
But I just like the idea of redeeming man up by pointing back to that definition of like, no. If you're calling a boy up to a standard that is godly and good and manly,
right, then
man up's awesome.
It shouldn't be a term of a negative term. It shouldn't be a punishment term or like like an embarrassment term. It should be a, hey, let me help you,
Yeah, absolutely.
find your identity as a man.
Well, because I've been really blessed with a lot of positive male role models. And when I've been told that or things like it, it's been very encouraging. Like it's been very convicting and very like positive. It's been, it's an iron sharpening iron thing where you're like being called up of like, dude, like, frankly, you're wallowing in self-pity right now. Like man up and just do what you need to do. And it's kind of like, that's good.
Good advice.
It is. Like, I accept that. I think that's really important,
Yeah.
But then there's other times when it's like, I'm watching some kid's movie and I'm like kind of crying because something really touching happened, something important, something emotional, something good,
Yeah.
And I'm either crying because I'm happy or I'm crying because I'm sad. But I think that's okay.
No, I do it frequently as well.
I know, dude. Ever since, like becoming a dad, I cry in movies way more.
Same.
Yeah. Anyway,
Mary Poppins got me recently.
Yeah, dude. Right?
Yeah, that's
impactful. What was that?
Yeah.
I did not know Mary Poppins was so potent, man. I don't know. Whatever. I mean, emotionally potent. Okay, has some good truth in there, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. tons of truth.
It's about a father like finding his place,
manning up
and being a dad to his kids and reestablishing that relationship. It's awesome.
That's a excellent fatherhood movie.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's really good. You guys should read Brave New World, watch Marry Poppins
At the same time,
dude. Can you think of
backwards?
wow, the enlightenment that would come from that?
Smarter than all of us.
That'd be incredible. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know how.
So-
I think that's adjacent to virtue, and I just wanted to talk about it. So here we are. I don't know
Yeah.
because
acting like a man is virtuous.
Yeah.
If you're doing it in the proper context.
Yeah.
And but I think it always like to what end? Same
Yeah.
with pursuing goodness or self-control like a monk or whatever, like manliness. To what end? Why are we doing this? What's the purpose? Is it simply to produce a more self-controlled, good-hearted version of ourselves so that when we die, people think highly of us? Like,
Sure.
is that it? Or is there something beyond the borders of the temporal realm?
Whoa. Is there something beyond the borders of the temporal realm?
Yes.
Yes, there is. That's a good
Good
question. I know there is.
But that's what gives us the ability to even define virtue.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Across countries, and that's the other
across
interesting
history.
thing.
Yeah.
Across time.
Yeah.
Right. Like it transcends time, and we try to redefine virtue as we get further and further along in the fall of this empire.
Yeah.
Right. To where we were talking earlier about even like the whole. It's basically calling good evil and evil good, like the minor attracted persons.
Ugh.
We found like science to help back up the idea that that's a perfectly natural and normal state of being.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's
No.
evil. It's straight up evil.
Yeah.
But we're trying to define these things like, okay, by what standard? And why does the majority of the world still look at that and say, no, that's wrong?
Yeah.
Like, why should it be wrong? Like, why shouldn't they be able to say, oh, this is just as morally right as what you're doing? Like,
Right.
Like who gets to set the terms? And it's God.
Yeah.
But when you miss that, you miss the essence of being.
Yeah. Don't miss it. Don't miss the essence of being, guys.
Don't miss it, man.
Don't. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
I said it like a joke, but I meant it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really good, man. This is deep. This is kind of deep.
It is. And it's like super, it feels like ultra like philosophical, like we're talking about like Dostoevsky and all these things. But I truly,
You did.
but truly, like I don't want to sound like, oh yeah, like I'm the philosopher and I figured this stuff out and it's like so basic. It's like, it's not the case. The case is the simplicity of the gospel is super simple. And the mystery of the gospel has been revealed to us.
Yeah.
And it is Christ.
Yeah.
Is meaning, is purpose, is life. And it's just really easy to lean on that, right? Because you have people throughout history trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And we just happen to be so blessed to have a personal relationship with our creator. And so we can say, like that is clearly the answer that they're searching for.
Yeah.
And that's why they're such tortured souls, is because they want that. The underground man is trying to figure that out. He's like, what? Like, why am I consistently falling in this? And why do I want something beyond this world?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Because you're designed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And created for it. But I think people miss that when they subscribe to the scientific worldview of Darwinism. It's like, well,
Yeah.
you're not created at all. So you just evolved to be nice to each other.
Yeah.
According to arbitrary standards.
Well, and that's one way to go with it. You could also go evolve to, take over the world. That's the fun of Darwinism and evolution is you can kind of go wherever the heck you want with it because it's a choose your own adventure as far as meaning, because ultimately you're making crap up. So why not keep making it up? Like you can kind of go wherever you want with it.
Yeah.
And they do. It's interesting because you see all these philosophies that supposedly come from Darwinism or the quote evolutionary biology and whatever to justify their position, but you can justify way too many positions with it because it is ultimately made up by man.
Well, it's all theory, dude.
Right.
And it's funny because even this is a tangent example, but I always laugh at it. Is I heard this some Darwin whatever evolutionary biology professor talking about why we like grind our teeth when we see our babies that are super cute, or we're just like, like we can't handle
the cute reaction.
Yeah, the cute reaction.
Yeah,
and I think it was a girl, I can't remember, but she was saying like, she's like basically like, hey, like the reason for this is evolutionarily we haven't developed, like cuteness is outside of our realm of understanding.
Oh, cool.
So evolutionarily we're not there yet to understand cuteness, and so when we do that, what we're actually doing is we're expressing a desire to kill our children.
Oh my gosh, dude.
And I was like,
yeah, I've heard that.
What?
I've heard that.
Like that's the culmination of your thought is like, oh, well, clearly
Oh my gosh.
we're animals and we can't understand cuteness. And so we want to kill our kids. And it's like that.
So messed up.
What a bleak outlook too.
It's
like,
so
oh
weird.
yeah, the feelings inside me is not love.
Yeah.
It's murder.
Yeah.
Like, cool, man.
Yeah.
I'm not inviting you over to my house.
For real, hot take. Like, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
But and how dare you insinuate that I can't handle cuteness?
I can't, dude. My kids are so cute.
I know, I can't handle it either.
Yeah.
It's outside my realm of handlement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Who said that whole? If we encounter things that we can't understand. Oh, it was C.S. Lewis. I'm not gonna butcher the quote, but
Whatever.
he basically says, once we reach the understanding that we can't understand everything in this world, it means we're created. We finally figured out that we're created for something more.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's way better. When
He couldn't have said it better himself.
He could have, and he did.
No, it's a exact. I love that thought though. I think it's spot on.
Mm-hmm.
Spot on.
Well, and it goes back to the whole virtue conversation. It's like defining a thing by itself.
Right.
Like same with, we understand our brains with what? Our brains.
Sure.
We understand everything about life and biology and science and philosophy and literature. All this stuff is our own brains thinking about it. We've come
Yeah.
up with it.
Yeah.
Like, to a degree, I think
Yeah.
God has put blueprints on us.
Well,
Like,
it's what we've been able to see of what God created.
yeah. So
But,
it's
yeah.
our limited understanding, and so we're saying that's the proper lens to look at things through. Is
Yeah.
our foggy lens that
Yeah.
we're constantly scraping new layers of dirt off of. To
Totally.
see
Well,
it
and talk
better.
about hubris, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're sitting here just like, yeah, like and that ties into what we were talking about earlier with the whole science, the whole science as essentially a religion or a philosophy, or like it gets held up as though it's like God versus science. It's like, what an insanely weird, imbalanced pairing that is. Like what a stupid war to fight there. Like, because you're going like, it's what a created being has discovered of its created world versus the thing that created it.
Yeah.
Okay, who do you think's going to win that fight? Like it just doesn't even, it's such a false equivalency, a false parallel, a false dichotomy, if you will, right? It's so contrived and so prideful to be like, what we've figured out of this thing that we've arrived in
Yeah.
is now our God.
Yep.
Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it's
Well,
like,
and that's
yeah.
again what I love about Notes from Underground is he talks about that, where he's like, you're saying the laws of nature is it? Like,
Yeah.
just the natural world is all there is. There's nothing beyond this. It's
Yeah.
simply understanding how things work is the culmination of knowledge.
Yeah.
And like is true perfection and attaining like worth is just knowing how stuff works.
Yeah.
Like existing in a system and being like, this is how the system works. I've achieved it. It's like, what? Like, why does the system work? What is
Right.
the system?
Who made the system? What
Yeah.
what's the system
Yeah.
for?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. You're missing a lot of really, really big questions if that's
Yeah.
your conclusion.
Yeah, you need what Chesterton always talked about. You need wonder. Right?
Yes,
like you need,
yes.
That's one of my.
Hey, yeah, that's one of
There
your
you go.
working geniuses.
Yeah, yeah.
Wonder.
But yeah, you
Yeah.
need that. Without wonder, if you think that it's all solved, then
Yeah.
that's where you start going down some really dark paths, and
Yeah.
that's why there's so much suicide among free thinkers. It's
Yeah.
like, because they've understood that there's more, but they don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And so, of course, you come to the end of it, and you're like, oh,
Or they finally arrive at a place where they think there isn't more, right?
well, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're affirmed in that belief by everyone in the scientific community being like, yeah, you're right, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's all
pointless.
pointless other than virtue.
Yeah. That's
Being
why
good.
that's why it's super important that we're good, because it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
But it gives life meaning to be good, because
Right.
then other people will be happy and comfortable.
Like, why should we care?
And again, the end result of that
Right.
is like, okay, so we arrive at this perfect utopia where everything's good and all the virtuous ancestors we've had have led us to this point. Now what? Like,
Yeah.
what is it? Like, why is this good? Why is this deemed good? That I'm comfortable and I can procreate when I want and I have
Yeah.
all the food I want. It's like,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that all there is? Like,
Yeah.
And especially, and that's what's so cool.
I
is
mean,
like,
that sounds pretty good.
it does.
Yeah.
And then you see the teaching of the Bible is like antithetical to that. Not that those things are bad in of themselves.
Yeah.
Like they're good. And
Oh, of course.
prosperity is a great thing too.
Yeah.
In its proper context.
Sure.
Not as an end in itself.
Right.
But like the Bible's like, no, you're going to suffer.
Yeah.
Like life is largely marked by suffering. Look
Mm-hmm.
at Christ's example, follow him, take up your cross. All that concept, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're called into something that's antithetical to the idea of like, oh, we exist for pleasure and goodness.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because the Stoicism starts to go in the direction of almost like the pursuit of pain, to some extent. It doesn't. I don't know how. I mean, it depends on who you're reading and the context. But sometimes I mean, it gets borderline masochistic at a certain point.
Yeah,
Because but it's interesting because that whole like self-flagellation, that pendulum. Again, read Brave New World. It's a really interesting thing because you see like the pursuit of pleasure doesn't satisfy. So then the rejection of pleasure and the rejection of comfort and the pursuit of the opposite of that also doesn't satisfy.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like we're supposed to be pursuing, I don't know, God and his design for our life, and pain and pleasure kind of comes along.
Yeah.
Like as it goes, like it kind of includes both. But if you make one your aim, you're I mean, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Like historically not awesome, right? Like neither one is fulfilling because they're not designed to be pursuits in and of themselves.
Yeah.
They're designed to be part of the pursuit of God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was well said.
Hey, thanks.
I'll have to watch this a couple more times to take
I kind of blacked out and said words, so I don't know what just happened.
But that makes me, like, and I haven't fleshed this out because I just thought of it, but like the whole pursuit of virtue, the pursuit of goodness, pursuit of self-control, all that stuff, like basically behavior is God. Like behavior becomes,
right.
Like and that's where actually that's one thing I love about Dietrich Bonhoeffer is he was super adamantly outspoken against mere pietism of like sitting in the chute waiting your whole life because you're afraid of sinning, and so your whole life becomes the pursuit of not sinning. And that in and of itself he called a sin. He's like, that's pride. Like you're so self-focused that instead of being out on the battlefield, you're sitting in the chute because you're afraid to sin.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to be moral when his goals are so much higher than behavior.
Totally. And it's a slight misunderstanding, a pretty big misunderstanding, I think, of what sin is, because if sin is missing the mark of God's high calling, right, for your life, and then, I mean, sitting on your duff, trying not to do something actively evil, is also clearly sin. It's the sin of omission, sin of inactivity, laziness, apathy, whatever. It doesn't.
You know what to
lead
do and
anywhere
do it
good.
not. That's counted sin.
Yes.
Right? Like,
hey. There's a verse. Thank you. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, the Bible says it.
Yeah, I know, right? There we go.
Yeah.
See, I knew it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I get the logic of, like, I get how people get there, and I've been there.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's
heartless moralism.
it's not good at all.
Legitimately, you break it down, that's just new wave legalism.
Ooh, yeah, break it down.
No. No, but like and some of it's just straight legalism.
Yeah,
Where you're like, oh, the Bible says this, so I can't do this, and it's exactly what it means, and there's no other possible definition of what that means.
sure.
Like, thou shalt not lie. Like, so I will never tell a lie in any context whatsoever. And then you look at the Hebrew midwives that were like, sorry, Pharaoh, like these Hebrew women are freaking sturdy and they keep popping these babies out before we can get to them, so we can't kill them for you.
Yeah.
It's like, that was a direct lie to the highest authority in the land.
Yeah.
And they were blessed by God for it. So like, clearly there's more to it than just the black and white of the letter of the law. There's the spirit of the law.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But what's crazy is you get it. I do this. I'm guilty of this, where I get into this like self-flagellation mode of like, oh, like I stumbled in that area. Like, oh, I'm a horrible man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, like stop. Like,
Yeah.
you are crippling yourself and you're allowing the enemy to stifle you and your spirit and what God has in store for you, because you think that your behavior is really the thing that's going to derail God's plan for humanity.
Yeah.
Like, and granted, we can do a lot of things to screw things up, but ultimately he still causes all things to work together for his good. But the point is, when we're doing that, we're completely missing the mark.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and Satan is what? He's the accuser of the brethren, right? Like he comes in as a voice of condemnation, and then we have our own conscience, and then there's also just the but again, but that comes down to that whole real all important difference between condemnation and conviction, right?
Yeah.
Of like conviction being, hey, you should change how you're behaving, which is good, and God convicts us of things so that we can walk in virtue and walk in truth and walk in his calling. But then condemnation just says you are a piece of crap, right?
This is who you
like,
are
like,
because you
this
did
is
this.
it's a lie about your identity as opposed to no, you're a child of God. You need to repent of that sin, change how you're going, and move forward. Let's go. Like onward. And conviction is a very forward facing thing, and condemnation is like the end of the road. It's like you're done. Like
the end of the road, or just a roadblock that you feel like you have to move ever so slightly through.
Yeah.
Like Catholicism. I think that's the biggest swing and miss in that faith.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of good things in it, but like this idea that like, nope, like you have to go to confess, you have to go and, well, they don't do this anymore, but buying indulgences and doing all these things to pay for your sins and it's like missing the mark of like somebody already paid for that. And he's just waiting for you to get out there and work. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like even with, endeavors that we've had, like, it's like the spiritual battle of like, like this, I'm struggling here. It's like, those are trivial things. Move on. Yeah. And support each other and move beyond them. And like you said, use the conviction in your conscience to your benefit and to the benefit of the cause. But ultimately, like, God doesn't just want to sit here and wait for us to feel bad about our sins for long enough to where we get over it and then move on. Like,
oh, totally. And that ultimately that reaction is a response to a lie. It's not a response to truth, right? Totally. Like, because it's the lie that essentially like somehow we need to pay for it, and it's kind of like the truth was Christ. Like the truth is the gospel, and He has paid for it, and so the response to the truth is to thank Him for it, move on from it, and go forth.
What's ironic about that too, you bring up a good point about like believing the lie, is that's pride. To say that I could pay for this, right? What Christ couldn't pay for,
right? Like His work on the cross is great, but I've got to feel bad for a week before.
Like He did pretty good, and I'll take it from here, God. Like I will, the whole asceticism thing, right? Severity to the body, like that seems like a good idea, but it's ultimately worthless. Like,
and it's rooted in our sense of justice and conscience, and we know we've done wrong and all that. And guilt is good in the sense that it can convict us of things, and we know when we're, I think it's positive if it points us to Christ and moving on. Totally. But it's interesting. Wow, we covered a lot, man.
Yeah, we're getting into some weeds here.
I don't. This thing is pretty good.
I didn't say I didn't.
There's some pretty true, beautiful weeds, man.
Wildflowers are weeds.
Wow, that's a good.
You can quote me on that. Actually, I have that tattooed on my back.
Oh my gosh. I kind of believe you.
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, man. Well, virtue. Virtue's tied in with a lot of things.
It is. Yeah. Have I said all I wanted to say about it?
I don't know, man. What do you got? You got more?
Have you said all you wanted?
I don't know. It's been a ramble, but I think it's been pretty good. I think we said a lot of true things. I stand by what I said.
And considering how tired we are today, I think this is fine.
Oh yeah, we're great.
It's a good conversation. I feel uplifted. I feel
it was borderline coherent.
It was for us. We'll see.
Exactly.
We'll see.
Yeah.
It just makes me want to man up.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. I think man up, not to like, again, it's not about like redeeming the term, but it's about just thinking about it
like that?
Because people do that. People like to like redeem things that I feel like don't even need to be, I don't know, redeemed. Whatever. Redemption. This is I do too, but I like redemption of like people, not like there's certain things that you're like, whatever. I mean, I don't know. I shouldn't. Okay. I can't think of a good example.
I was just curious.
I can't think of a good example.
Does it sound like a buzz, like a Christian, like a?
I feel like it's a Christian easy thing to do, to be like, oh, we're redeeming this piece of culture,
redeeming the rainbow,
right? Instead of just being like, first of all, you can't redeem anything, and second of all, like it's.
I'll stop using that term. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying that I think it's a misuse of the term again, because it's man up. It didn't sin. Okay. Like you can't.
Same with masculine.
Like it didn't. Right? It's not. It doesn't need to be redeemed. It needs to be like properly understood. Is a better term than redeeming. Is my point in this context. Yes. I think there's these ideas that we use the term redeem for, that all we're saying is there's lies about this and we want to tell the truth about this. Yeah. That's all it is. It's not like you're. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. It's like ascribing sin to a saying.
Like the Noahic covenant and the promise of the rainbow. We need to redeem the sin.
Right, we need to redeem the rainbow. It's like the rainbow,
it holds as it is. People can defile it, but ultimately that's a symbol of God's.
You can lie about rainbows. You can tell the truth about rainbows.
And I have both.
But you can't redeem a rainbow. It didn't do anything wrong.
Redeeming rainbow. Right. I was reading rainbow.
Reading rainbow. Is that the more you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The more thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's another tangent. But the point is, so not to redeem Man Up, but to properly understand Man Up. And if you're someone who does, I'll just throw. I'm actually really curious what our listeners who are still listening, what their take would be. Like, how many of them would react negatively, knee-jerk negatively to Man Up, and how many would view it positively? I'm just really curious. And I would just throw out there, if it's something you do view negatively, first of all, I'm sorry that whatever happened to create that situation in your life, that probably sucks. But I would just throw out there, like, if question the actual the intent of the term and go, is this person saying man up? Or are they saying boy up? Or you should act like an animal? because ultimately it's like, does this person even know what a man is? Is the person who incorrectly said man up to you, like, do they even know what a man is? Are they someone you look up to as a man that you would want to emulate?
Yeah,
like,
that's a good
you know what I mean?
question.
Like, so I just think I just throw that out there. Like, it's not the term's fault. It's like a person saying it and not knowing what they're saying.
It sounds like we need to liberate the term man up.
Oh my God. That's so much better, dude. It's been imprisoned by lies.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I also think, I mean, we could talk about this all day.
No, let's do it.
But I think, I don't know that the term man up has ever had like a solid, at least in my, with my finger on the cultural pulse.
Yeah, man. You're in touch.
No, I don't picture it ever having had, and this is probably just my connotation, a real positive connotation.
Really? Okay.
Like, it doesn't strike me as a thing that was ever said in like a term of like fatherly love and like education.
Okay.
It seems to me to just be like hey, don't be a baby.
Yeah.
A wimpy.
One of those B words.
Yeah.
A baby. Yeah.
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 But again, that's the question for everybody. Like, what's everyone's connotation with it? And
So like, okay, so you're just saying like broadly culturally, you don't know that it ever had like a broad cultural positive meaning?
I don't know that I've ever heard it used in a positive context.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
See,
Well, you have though.
I think I have.
Yeah.
I think so. Maybe I just.
It could
I think I have.
I think probably more it had to do with my reception of it too. And
Yeah.
and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, and I don't remember ever really having a male role model telling me to man up. So maybe that's it too. Like, maybe it's just I'm aloof from that conversation because I haven't had a lot of that kind of input.
Well, Derrick, you need a man up.
Child. Yeah, I know. I agree.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, dude. No, I just think, I know I have had positive connotations with it, but again, it comes down to the people that I can remember saying it or things very similar to it in my life have been, it's coming from a place of, I know they are calling me up to something. They're calling me up to a higher standard. They're calling me up to virtue, right? Moral excellence, valor, courage, fortitude, good things, right? And so, like, that is, I just, in the context that it's been used in my life, I've known the people who are saying it want what's best for me.
Yeah.
And I've known the people, and typically they're people who I would want to be more like them in those areas, right? Like they're people that I would want to be more manly like them, right? If that makes sense. Like they are manly.
Yes.
And so I guess, like, I just think that if we understand what a man is and we think that that's a good thing, which I think that. I think the world needs men. I think God created men. I think he has a purpose for men,
men
right?
are great.
Yeah, men are so
Men
cool.
are awesome.
Men are just the best. But if that's the case, then a call upward toward that standard,
Totally.
how's that bad?
I think it's great.
Great.
I don't think it's bad, but we got some culture wars to fight on that front.
Yeah, man. Well, truth wins over lies, man.
Dude, way to redeem that term.
Stop. Cool, man. Well, I think this has been a virtuous conversation.
Yeah. I think we both manned up a little bit today.
I know I did.
Yeah.
Look how muddy my pants are.
Oh, my boots are pretty muddy.
You don't get muddy pants without a little bit of manning up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm going to go tell my boys at home to man up.
Do it.
Yeah.
See, coming from you, I think they'll appreciate it.
I already do tell them that, and they do appreciate it.
That's what I'm saying. I think, yeah. If you told me to man up in the right context, in the right tone of voice, at the right time,
the right temperature.
if you're wearing the right, like, that cool shirt, I think I would respond well to it. I'd be like, all right, I will man up.
I'm glad you threw on your green shirt after I.
Oh yeah, this wasn't planned, by the way.
Yeah, we didn't. We're not in the military.
No.
Not in 1942.
Yeah, whatever. I just want to dress like you. What can I say? Cool, guys. Well, I think that's about it for today.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Stay virtuous, but know why. The end.
The end.
Therefore, honest poverty that hangs his head and home. The coward slave, we pass him by. We dare be pure for all that. For all that and all that. Our toils obscure and all that. The rank is but the beginning stand. The man's the goal.